The arena stretched before Marcus Chen like a metallic coliseum, its walls gleaming under the artificial suns of 12 different worlds. Representatives from across the Galactic Council had gathered to witness what they called the final arbitration, a tournament that would determine humanity's fate among the stars. For 3 months, Earth had been under quarantine while the Council debated humanity's application for membership. Some species advocated for acceptance, citing human ingenuity and determination. Others argued that humans were too volatile, too unpredictable for civilized galactic society. The compromise was this: a trial by combat featuring each species' greatest warrior. Marcus adjusted the simple combat suit Earth had provided. No advanced alien technology, no exotic materials, just reinforced fabric and basic protection. Around him, the other champions prepared with elaborate rituals and equipment that defied comprehension. The Cronin champion, Vextar, stood 9 feet tall with crystalline skin that could deflect energy weapons. His people had conquered 17 star systems through sheer physical dominance. The Zephyrian representative floated in a containment field, her gaseous form capable of phasing through solid matter at will. The Mechanarch sent their finest combat android, its chassis gleaming, with weapons that could level city blocks. 12 champions in total, 11 aliens with capabilities that made them legends among their people, and 1 human who taught high school physics back on Earth. "Interesting choice," rumbled the Thrakari champion, his 4 arms flexing as he examined Marcus. "Your species sends a teacher when we bring warriors?" Marcus smiled quietly. "Maybe that's the point." The arena master's voice echoed across the vast space in perfectly translated Standard Galactic. "The trial of champions begins now. Victory condition, be the last being standing. All weapons and abilities are permitted. Begin." Chaos erupted. Instantly. The Mechanarch's android unleashed a barrage of plasma bolts while Vextar charged forward, his crystalline fists glowing with stored kinetic energy. The Zephyrian phased through an attack meant for her, only to rematerialize inside the Quillan champion's defensive energy bubble, causing a spectacular explosion. Marcus did something unexpected. He ran. Not away from the fight, but toward the arena's edge, where the environmental controls maintained the different atmospheric conditions each species required. "The human flees," announced one of the council observers with obvious disdain, but Marcus wasn't fleeing, he was thinking. As a physics teacher, he'd spent years explaining to teenagers how the universe worked, how every action had consequences, how energy flowed and transformed, how systems could be manipulated if you understood their underlying principles. The arena was just another system, albeit a deadly one. He reached the environmental control panel as the Mechanarch's android eliminated 2 other champions. The machine's targeting systems couldn't quite track Marcus's seemingly random movements. Because they weren't random, he was calculating trajectories, using the arena's own geometry against the precision-engineered death machine. Marcus's fingers flew over the environmental controls. The arena had been designed to accommodate multiple species simultaneously, which meant it could create microclimates anywhere within its boundaries. With a few key adjustments, he began altering gravity fields, atmospheric pressure, and electromagnetic frequencies. The Mechanarch's android suddenly found its sensors scrambled as Marcus shifted the local electromagnetic spectrum. Vextar's crystalline armor, designed to store and redirect kinetic energy, began resonating at dangerous frequencies as Marcus adjusted the ambient sound waves. The gravitational anomaly he created near the arena's center pulled 2 more champions into a collision that eliminated them both. "Clever," admitted the Thrakari observer from the gallery, "but cleverness won't save him from our champion." The 4-armed warrior had indeed adapted to Marcus's environmental manipulations, using his natural agility to navigate the shifting conditions. He cornered the human near the arena's center, where the gravitational fields were most chaotic. "You fight like prey," the Thrakari growled, raising all 4 weapons. "Always running, always hiding. Is this the courage humanity offers the galaxy?" Marcus looked up at his approaching death and smiled. "No," he said quietly. "This is." He slammed his fist down on the final control he'd been slowly maneuvering toward, the emergency atmospheric vent. In an instant, the arena's atmosphere began cycling rapidly through the requirements of all 12 species in sequence. Oxygen levels spiked and plummeted, pressure waves created violent winds, and temperature fluctuations created thermal updrafts that disrupted everyone's footing. But Marcus had spent the entire fight adapting to these changes gradually, acclimatizing himself while his opponents focused on direct combat. He was the only one still standing when the chaotic atmospheric storm finally stabilized. The arena fell silent except for the hum of environmental systems returning to normal. 11 alien champions lay unconscious or incapacitated around him, victims not of superior firepower or exotic abilities, but of a high school teacher who understood that every system had vulnerabilities if you knew where to look. Marcus walked to the center of the arena, breathing heavily but victorious. Above him, the Galactic Council murmured in a dozen different languages, their voices carrying mixtures of surprise, respect, and something that might have been fear. The arena master's voice returned, "Victory to the human champion. The trial of champions is concluded." As Marcus was escorted from the arena, he overheard one council member whisper to another, "Perhaps we underestimated them, a species that can turn any environment into a weapon." "Indeed," came the reply. "We wanted to test their worthiness for galactic civilization. Instead, we may have discovered that civilization needs them more than they need us." 3 days later, Earth received its unconditional acceptance into the Galactic Council, along with an immediate offer to establish the galaxy's first multi-species military academy. The request specified that all strategic thinking courses should be taught by humans. Marcus Chen returned to his classroom the following Monday, but his lesson plans had changed. Instead of just teaching physics, he now taught his students how the universe worked, and how sometimes understanding the rules was the first step to changing them entirely. The galaxy would never be quite the same.